we ended up at a celebrity poker tournament. What do you like? And they're like, oh, I like to take pictures. Dude, that's your business.
What's going on in the NBA playoffs?
Asking, I promise you I'm on the verge of death. And he's like smiling. Once you know your value, nothing else matters.
Yoni Bierig, honored to have you on today.
Appreciate it.
You're a very cool person. You've done a lot of cool things. You've started a business, and I'm sure you could talk about more about what you've done. And we're people starting a business, and I kind of want to know what actions did you take? What things did you need to learn and unlearn to get to where you are today?
For sure. Should we give some background?
Yeah. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
I'll give myself a little bit of a background introduction. I'm 24, first of all. I grew up in New York and Philadelphia, New Jersey area.
Cherry Hill.
Cherry Hill, more
we
specifically.
listened to the last podcast.
All right, more specifically, there you go. I was always obsessed with, being entrepreneurial. I'll actually tie it into, when I was 18, I was doing my gap year in Israel, and so
Where did you go, by the way?
I started off in the Tiv area and I went to TVA. I'm going to shout out TVA. I'm not going to shout out
That's a good switch, by the way.
Absolutely.
And I kind of like...
Shout out Rav Yair if he watches it somehow. It's great.
I've seen Rav Yair once.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely a great man. Anyways, so I had at Nativ, I guess when I first started, I had my daddy's credit card. I'm gonna expose myself here a little bit, and I definitely abused it. And one day I got a call, and that was that. And I realized this is
call
it.
from the yeshiva or
no,
from your daddy?
From my dad.
Okay.
He said, "Why did you buy $5,000 worth of shoes or something like that?" I don't know what I did, some stupid stuff, and. I realized that it was time to lock in. I had no other way to make money other than whatever I was going to bring myself. I had absolutely no savings at this point, no access to any money at this point. So I said, well, what am I going to do? And I've always been this type of person that wanted to do it on my own. So this was a really good opportunity to do so. And so I started this company called DLX. It was literally just a clothing brand, and all I did was sell it to my friends. I built it, I designed it, I had it shipped out. When I went back to the U.S., I brought it with me, and I just sold it to my friends, and I made a little bit of money off of that. And I'm like, yo, I like this. This is cool. I feel accomplished. And then from there, I ended up switching yeshivas, and I went to TVA, and TVA gave me a lot of opportunity to kind of focus on my career. And
why is that?
It's kind of just the type of place where they're we want you to grow on your own independently, so choose how you want to do that, and whether that be you learn 50% of the time and you do work 50% of the time, you don't do anything, whatever it is, when you're ready to get serious, they're there to support you, and I felt that I appreciated that. And so I actually started doing my real estate course for New Jersey, and so I was doing New Jersey, PA real estate course, ended up getting a internship in Remax in Jerusalem, and I guess I just started.
Remax exists in Israel?
It did then. I don't know if it does now. So yeah, I started that. Kind of just went through that. Got back from Israel. Went to Drexel University for communications, and just realized, like I said, I just kept going through the motions of having jobs and whatnot, and eventually ended up at this real estate firm. And that's when I realized I did not like the corporate structure at all, and I felt very boxed in. I felt there was no room for growth, and I felt my impact was minimal.
How old were you then?
I was only 19.
Oh, wow.
18, 19.
And then you were working from 18, 17?
17 till, I was still real work from 17 to 17 I was doing some crazy stuff. The summer before Israel, I was actually selling windows door to door.
How do you get into that? How do you do that?
Dude, well, that first job, that was simply I was just looking for jobs on Indeed or something like that. And then I just realized, I think I just really liked the idea of being independent and working for my money rather than getting it from anybody else. But I'll fast forward a little bit for time's sake. I ended up at Drexel and COVID hit, and everyone started doing, you had so much time at the house, and everyone started doing stuff. And a lot of my friends started doing TikToks, and I'm like, this is not me. I tried one. I was
TikTok videos? Or
dude, yeah, trying to pop off on TikTok.
Were you able to renegade?
I actually wasn't. I had one video pop off. I'm just gonna say, I had 1 million views on one video. It was literally me at an Eagles game. It wasn't anything special. It was I think I opened a door in real life and it went into the stadium, and it was a game. It was cool, whatever. But I realized quickly that I'm not really meant for that. And me and my friend at the time, we were just huge in sports betting. We were just we loved it. We love sports, fantasy sports, everything. All day our conversation with sports was why don't we start a business around this? And I think that's kind of what the recipe was. Is something that I appreciated and enjoyed turned into something that I can make money off of and grow my career. And so we started this company called Ultimate Odds, and thank God we were able to raise money for that. It was my first opportunity cold call people, find my way into events, pitch my idea, have a really cool idea, pivot. I have a lot of cool stories about that, and I was able to build it out to a certain point. And that kind of led me to the next steps in my career. You know, I ended up being that I worked with another company in the gaming space after that. After, you know,
I love
exiting
how
that
it's
company.
called gaming, because when I think of gaming, I'm thinking like esports.
I know what you're thinking. Yeah.
I'm thinking like we're gaming over here.
You know, that's part of it, though, just so you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like that's all part of gaming.
Because that was really confusing trying to figure out what you do.
Dude,
And it's like
I
a
can't even-
gaming consultant. What does gaming mean?
We had a
Yeah.
little bit of a machloket over
I
here.
assumed it was real gaming.
No, I don't. I'm sorry. Did I disappoint you guys?
No,
Were you
I'm
guys
not a
excited?
gamer at all.
Okay.
I used to play. Are you familiar with CS:GO, Counter-Strike?
Like I know what it is, but
So
like,
they used to have this big online betting scene with like the boxes and skins and whatever. Were you some way involved in that?
no, I have like people that I've worked with that do like e-gaming and stuff for betting. Like there is definitely a huge market for that. But no,
But you're a sports guy.
We were sports and fantasy based, and then I was helping another company grow a little bit and kind of was just doing that. And I realized once I was doing a little bit of that consulting that like as much as I love doing that and I'm still available to help other companies, I was like I want to lock in again and build something. And like I've always had this idea that's been in the back of my mind, and I finally was able to make it work. Basically, I had this idea. You know, as many bar mitzvahs as I've been to in my life, I'll always get a dirty Shirley, not a dirty Shirley, a Shirley Temple. Sorry, I'll always get a Shirley Temple, and it's my favorite drink. And like, I think one day I was at dinner with my family at a restaurant, and now fast forward a long time. I'm 20, 21, 22, and I ordered a Shirley Temple, and I'm with my cousin and my family, and they're like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And I was like, "This is a great drink," and they're like,
For me,
"What?"
it's just like 7-Up. No.
It's 7-Up with grenadine, but it's like a nostalgic drink that gives me like these instant like.
It's a classic.
Yeah. So, anyways, I was like, dude, this is a great drink. I'd love to have this on the go. And then I looked it up, and there really wasn't any options. And I was like, wait, this should be alcoholic as well. 'cause
Even now, there's no Dirty Shirley's.
there's one competitor that does a dirty Shirley, and you can't even get it here. Can't get it here. Can't get it in LA. Can't get it in any place that I ended up. I couldn't get it.
Also,
And-
like respectfully, like what's the difference between taking like a cherry 7-Up and just putting some vodka in it?
Well, first of all, it's in a can, so like to have it already locked in, like you can take it anywhere, you can buy it from a store. That adds value. And secondly, like that's
fun.
not what I realize is that's not what I want to do. I realize I want to do that, but I also want to do it in a way where there's benefits. Like it's 80 calories, it's 2 grams of sugar. That's not going to happen with grenadine and a 7-Up. You're getting 40 grams of sugar. You're going to have a hangover. You're not going to want to drink more than a cup of it.
Mixed drinks scare me. I
which-
never know how much is inside
Well,
of it.
which is why I have some here. You guys can actually taste it.
Already? Okay.
It'd be a very interesting. So
Let's
this
do
is
it.
actually what this is. I'll give the background on the company before you open it. A
Also,
little
we
bit.
need an ASMR. It's
Oh yeah.
Yeah, ASMR it, but basically how this came about, I had this idea for a long time, ended up, not really doing much about it, ended up in Super Bowl last year, met a guy named Griffin Johnson, he does TikToks.
And Kentucky Derby.
Yes, yes, he does.
Oh.
And we ended up at a celebrity poker tournament, ended up becoming friends, talking a little bit, ended up on a party bus, and we were talking a little bit about business and how we're similar. And I was like, yeah, dude, like I've had this one idea that I thought was really cool. Is like a dirty Shirley. And he's like, dude, it sounds great, but I have to ask my girlfriend because like that's what's important. He asks her, she's right there, and she's like, this is amazing. And I was like, interesting. And then I also during that trip became close with Summer Rae, and so we ended up, just networking. And
how does that happen? How do you just casually over a trip?
Yeah, I mean, we had a mutual friend at the time, and so we met through that, and we ended up spending that weekend together, just doing Super Bowl festivity stuff, and just spent a lot of time together and got familiar with each other. And then back in Jersey, she came for one of her shows, and we met for dinner. And this idea was already in my mind now. I'm like thinking about it, and then I mentioned it, and like her team is there, and she's there. And like I didn't expect anything. I wasn't asking her to join or do anything, and I just mentioned the idea, and she's like, "Oh my God, like this is amazing. I'd love to be a part of it." Wow. And so we just decided to start it together. And so like thank God, everything kind of came together at the right time. And so that's kind of how we got to this point. And so now what I'll introduce is this is the drink. It's a prototype. There is no labeling or anything like that.
This is cool. Having
yeah.
no
Can I crack
label.
it?
You're one of the first 10 people to try this drink. You can crack the
Whoa.
drink. It's a watermelon blast dirty Shirley. It's meant to be refreshing with a hint of basil and watermelon to give you that refreshing. It's 80 calories, 2 grams of sugar.
Wait, so you said first of 10.
First of 10.
Who are the first triers?
couple of my close friends, and some
Summer Rae.
prospective investors, Summer Rae and our team.
Oh.
So,
I was expecting it to be a lot
bright
more
red.
red.
Yeah, we're
Anything
this is
in a can that you pour into a glass.
it's
is
never
always
really
different.
the same color, but we
you
wanted it
want?
to have some sort of hint. Yeah, I love it, so I'll definitely drink some. So let's all try it. I want
It smells like candy.
so I want you guys to like honestly rate it.
L'chaim.
Chaim.
A little
L'chaim.
far. This table is.
I don't know if that's happening.
Let me know what you think.
It's
Nope.
hard because I didn't know what to expect.
Okay, now
It's it's not overwhelming at all, which I like. A lot of
Yeah.
drinks can very quickly get artificial tasting, especially watermelon.
Yep.
And this is just goes down easy, tastes good.
7%.
Really?
Yep.
What kind of alcohol is it?
Wine.
That's what it is.
It doesn't have that artificial sugar taste. Oh, it's wine.
It's not artificial sugar. It's monk fruit. There's no
Monk
artificial
fruit.
sugar. Yeah.
It's very
that checks
good.
out.
yeah.
Because I was expecting it to taste like Bai Bubbles,
Yeah.
but with vodka, which sounds terrible. But this is wine with monk fruit. And what's the watermelon?
Watermelon. It's just water, real watermelon. What do you think? What's the? Be honest though. Like I
My
don't-
second thought is now that you said it's wine, is it kosher?
Yeah.
Okay, phew.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going back to it.
I would drink this. I don't really do alcohol.
Okay.
But we'll see. If I would have like a couple cans of this, maybe I'd feel fine.
You would feel good. It would be
I'm-
like a wine
What would the
drunk. It
difference
would be
be?
like a wine drunk. It's cool.
Oh, cool.
It's really cool. Like
Which you don't get from cans. Usually.
no, like you get like a very like it's I don't know how to even describe it. You kind of just have to have it. It's like a nice head high.
It's the perm high.
Yeah.
You know this.
Yep. Dude, it's I'm excited about this one. But we have a classic flavor coming out too, so it'll
You
be
got me
more like-
nervous there
When
when you
does
said
it
wine.
launch? Yeah.
You saw me blush.
I
I'm
know,
like,
I
oh
saw
shit.
it. Yeah.
When does it launch?
I should have mentioned that before. September.
And is it going into like on shelves?
We're
Is it
gonna
going to
we're
bars?
going shelves DDC, so like we're looking to sell it online as well, but it's gonna be on shelves. Hopefully at stores near you, wherever.
This is so much better than an alcoholic seltzer. I pound those things like Truly's, White Claws. White Claws I just learned aren't kosher, so maybe not anymore. But they're great, but they don't taste good.
That's the thing,
But I
like-
like it better than taking shots.
You like the idea of it because you like having the fact like it doesn't taste like a shot
And
it
it's
goes
not
down
a
a little
beer.
easier. Yeah, exactly. Beer. I don't like beer. I'm not a beer guy. This specific, like, I'm not. Obviously, it's my drink, so I'm obviously gonna be biased. But like, what I genuinely liked about this thing is that like you don't taste the alcohol, and like it's something that like it doesn't give you that like weird aftertaste of like. Or it's not sour. Or it's not like
This
too
is
bubbly.
dangerous. This
It's
is-
a danger.
this
It's
is
meant
a
to.
very
I want
dangerous
it.
drink.
So the company's called Tempted. So embrace temptation.
Has anybody got drunk off it yet?
I have. My girlfriend has. So she's over there, and she has gotten drunk off of it. So it's dangerous.
The big thing that's standing out of all this is how good you are at starting things, which for a lot of people is really hard. But I want to know how first of all, how are you figuring out when to start something? How do you start it? And then also when to finish.
Dude, well, yeah, that first of all, that last part's really important. Like you need to know when time is time. Some people like and there's like a balance. There's kind of like a sometimes you would be like, no, don't give up. You want to keep going. You don't know. But like I guess I'll start with the beginning and then I'll go to that part. To start something, it's one word and it's belief. I think, and more specifically, belief in yourself. If there's an idea that you've done research on and that you enjoy and you like, and you really believe in it, that's all that it should take. There shouldn't be anything stopping you. It shouldn't be a job stopping you. It shouldn't be risk. It shouldn't be anything, right? The only time I would tell someone to maybe take a step back and assess better is like if you have like 2 kids and money's really tight, like okay, like spend some time on the side doing it. But like if you're young and you're an entrepreneur and you have an entrepreneurial spirit and you're somebody that wants to do that, and not everyone has what it takes. So like you have to be able to realize that about yourself. Like yeah, like if you realize like this 9-to-5 system isn't working for you, maybe you are an entrepreneurial person and you just don't know it yet. So I think it's really important to have that belief in yourself, confidence. But like the most important thing in this whole thing, and I tell this all the time, it's like I'm like a broken record with it, is failure is success. And if you don't see it that way, then you're doing something wrong. When you fail, you either learn from it or you get answers that you would not get otherwise. And I think failure is something that you need to embrace. And this is something that I do all the time. Every time I fail, I literally tell myself, oh, how did I do this wrong? How can I do it better? And what can I do moving forward? And that's my recipe to succeed. And so when I want to start something, I have a good idea. If I think it's a good idea, I bounce it off of a couple of people. Sometimes they'll tell me I'm crazy, and sometimes that's the answer. I need to know that I'm doing the right thing, just so you know.
A reaction.
But I have that belief in myself already, so I'm just asking either for validation or to understand that, this
What's
is so
the
out of the
belief?
box.
Belief that what?
The belief is that I have the passion, I have a good idea, and I'm going to see it through. That's the belief.
But when did you
And-
stop?
and God,
you started
honestly.
a bunch of things.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
You started a bunch of things. Like, how do you know? How do you, like what you're saying? How do you know? How many things do you start at once?
Wow,
still stay
I have
focused?
ADHD, dude, so there's no such thing as once. It's like there's always going to be multiple things.
And you think that's a good track? A lot of people say do one thing.
Not
stick
everybody
with
can
it.
do that. If you don't have ADHD or the ability to manage all these things at once, then not everyone can do that, and it takes a lot, and it definitely takes a lot out of your social life and your personal life, and it's a sacrifice that you have to be willing to make. So I would definitely not like recommend that in general, but I would say that like when you are starting something, you have to really be passionate, and it has to be something that's either missing from your life or something that you see as a huge fit into like the puzzle. I wouldn't just say, there's a lot of people that'll start something for a money grab. They'll be like, oh, like this has so much money potential. Great, cool. But like, that does not mean that when the day comes where it's really hard for you, because it's never going to be easy unless you're super lucky. The day that it comes that it's hard for you and your passion isn't there about the product or whatever it is, that's when you're going to probably fail, because you're going to be like, well, it's not working and I don't care about it enough. Boom. I have been put in a position where, like, even for the drink, like, no one was willing to work with me for a long time on it. That's why it didn't come out. I had the idea for 3 years.
Were you actively developing this drink in the last?
I
3
was
years?
developing the concept, and I didn't have the motivation at that point.
It didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense. And once it made sense, I went all in on it. But like, the idea is like, I never gave up. I never said the idea's gone. Once I realized that I was with the right people, I was like, oh, this is an idea that's at the forefront now, and I was like pushing it. So it's like a matter of just like timing, and that really ties into like, belief in yourself, but belief in God. Like, that timing will be there, that timing will come. You just have to be ready for it when it comes and not be afraid to seize the moment. So that's a kind of what I would say.
I want to talk a little more about that belief, because the way, even just phrasing it as a belief, makes it seem like a lot of people, it's something you're born with, it's something someone else isn't born with.
No.
The entrepreneurial spirit, when the way you're describing it is really, no matter how it goes, I will keep working on this, I will figure it out. It's more of a commitment than something genetic.
Dude, there's no 9 to 5. It's 24 hours. Like, you have to grind. Like,
Do you have a life outside of your companies?
it's funny. Like, my companies have become my life, meaning like everything's built around that. Like, I hang out with friends, I'm bringing the drink around. When it was the gaming thing, when I'm with my friends, we're betting. Like, I like to live my lifestyle, because these are products that I'm so passionate about. These are things that I'm so into on my day-to-day that it's not hard for me to like bring around me. So it doesn't really take away from my personal life, but there's definitely like a matter of, you have to, be around family. You have to do things that are important. And I'm always a big believer in like, when those things come around, like, that's the most important thing. Like, end of the day, like, we're healthy, we're happy, like, that we have a roof like over our heads, like, that's really more important than any business or money or anything. So like, that has to be like something that you keep in mind. I've seen people go crazy about it. Like, I don't even see my parents. Like, no, that's not, dude, see your parents. Like, relax. Like, it's all gonna work out. You can see your parents. You can go to home for dinner once or twice, dude. Like, don't stray away from that and think that that's the only way to be successful. You can be successful and also have family life and things like that.
I want to get more into, eventually I want to get into everything you're doing now and the whole networking talent side of it. But if we could go back to, what was it called? DXL?
DLXX, yes.
What?
Deluxe.
Deluxe.
Yup.
So how do you, because so many people see that on TikTok, at least a couple years ago. And it was, all you have to do, you take someone else's clothing that's being made already.
Yeah.
You print your name on it, and now clothing brand.
Yeah.
Just like that. And most people get to one post on Instagram.
And done.
And then they're done, because no one just bought their thing that they got off of Amazon.
It's funny, like, that type of structure, that type of company isn't, to me, it's like, that was just kind of what got me. That was like my foot in the door. It wasn't like, it was never going to be the recipe for success, but it was something that got me intrigued on like having my own thing. It felt like there was pride. There was a pride about it. Like, to see someone wear something that you technically created, even though it was like literally just like drop shipping and whatever.
It's awesome.
It was a feeling.
I
that
more want to
liked.
get into the psychology of how you started than like the first thing anyone ever does is not going to be anything incredible compared to what they do later,
Right.
obviously. But I want to know more what you learned from that experience and why you think other people were not able to make that step.
What I learned from that experience is what, let's say, and this is inappropriate, but this is what a druggie would learn from their first time doing drugs. Ooh, I like this. Like
drugs, gambling,
like
drinking.
this is good. Like I like this idea of I'm my own boss. I like this idea of I can make my own money. I like the pride about it. It was a taste. So that was for me. That's how I knew it was for me, because it was like it just came from the heart. It wasn't like I wasn't thinking much about it. I was like, this is fun. But like for anyone who starts, like, you know, once you get from like that first point of like, okay, this isn't going to work. Let's say it's your drop shipping venture. The next step that it's like, and I tell this to all my friends and to people that I meet a lot, is like, they'll be like, oh, I'm working this job, but I don't like it. Da, da, da. I'm like, well, what do you like? And they're like, oh, nothing. I'm like, what do you really like though? What do you like? I'm not talking about money right now. What do you like? And they're like, oh, I like to take pictures. Dude, that's your business. Like, what are you talking about? I don't know, but I don't like I'm not good at it. All right, then don't be the photographer. Be the guy who runs the photographers, or like be the guy who connects the photographers to the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you like to do?
Do you think
like,
everybody could just do that? Because a lot of people are like, no, I'm not doing
not
it.
everyone can do it, because some people need
They want
structure.
someone to tell them what to do.
Some people need structure. That's why I recommend college for some people, and I recommend not going to college for some people. And that's something that's a really big topic on my mind all the time.
Was college worth it for you?
For me,
You
I did a
dropped
year.
out,
I did a
right?
year of it, and was it worth it? Maybe like it
Your
was.
company's on the website, by the way.
Yeah, I know. They were a part of
website?
it.
On the Drexel
on
website?
Drexel's
They invested.
website.
They put money into my first venture. So
No way.
yeah.
How did you get investments?
Like originally? Wow, dude,
People
that
struggle
was
so hard to get money.
one of the craziest things of how I did it, and like I still think to this day it might be the most effective strategies. I just went on LinkedIn and started DMing people in my space, and I ended up going to like a trade show convention. Pitched my idea
In Vegas?
Yeah, in Vegas. I snuck into places and pitched my idea to one dude. Yeah, literally.
You went high
My
res?
friends always
the high vis.
my friends always tell me if I like put all these things into like footage, it would go crazy, but I never did that. But yeah, dude, I pitched this guy about my business. He's like, this was before I went to the trade show. I actually had a call with him, and he's like, yeah, like you sound like a really smart guy, but this idea sucks. And I was like, damn. But he was pretty big in the space at the time, so I was like, all right, well, we got to change something, and we did. I hunted this man down at the next like convention in Vegas. I was like, hey, dude, like I listened to what you said. Like I didn't know if he would care or not. I was like, I was eager. And I was like, I listened to what you said. This is what we did. We pivoted, and this is the new business. And he literally, this is like word for word, thing for thing, gave me a high five and says, I want to be a part of it and invest.
Like
and I
what
want to
kind of high
introduce
five?
you to
Like this
everyone. Yeah. And he introduced me that same day to like 4 different people who were massive in the space. And now I went from this kid who knew nobody to this kid who knows the most important people in the gaming space. Like I knew the owner of this guy, and this guy. It led me to like a crazy place. And then eventually he put money. He introduced me to other people, and it's really a snowball effect, which is why I tell people when they're raising capital, don't give up hope, because the second you get that first one, chances are that their friends will come, or it's just a snowball effect. And so I was able to raise, thank God, and we raised some really cool people, and we raised a nice amount for our first time, and that really was like encouraging for me.
There was something I heard a couple weeks ago. It was just the way someone put it. I forgot who it was. I thought they put it so well. They said I think it was Patrick Bet-David, who's saying the person who says no, who can say no, is exactly the person you want to talk to. Because most people in a company, if you go to the secretary at the front desk, they can't tell you no to anything. They can say, well, we're not supposed to do that. Well, I can set up a schedule. I can schedule a call later. But that guy who is able to say, no, this sucks, that quick is automatically, if you get any sort of reaction that's definitive, that's the person you want to talk to.
Yep. Yeah, so it took that. So it took a lot of finesse in that first like little part of time for me, but it taught me a lot. And like, dude, it's something that I didn't know I could do. So it gave me a lot of confidence, and I think that confidence carried over into everything else I did past that.
Yeah.
Are you a very organized person? Like
Absolutely not. I'm gonna cut you off right there. No, like don't
How
even
did-
try
how
to
did you
follow that up
remember
with
to
like all the organizational stuff that I do. No.
how do you remember to reach back out to this guy?
Wow,
Because
dude.
sometimes you can meet a super cool person, and I forget. I won't follow up, and that's bad.
Yeah. I will say being organized would help with this, but I was just so freaking motivated to make it work that like I was like I'm doing this. Like I didn't care. It wasn't like a organized timing schedule thing. I was just like pushing and pushing. It was perseverance. I think I was just being like a dog. Like I was literally just pesky. Some may say I was annoying at that time to them. They didn't want to hear about my business. But dude, and I use this analogy for a lot of things. You guys are sports fans at all?
Not
really.
at all.
Okay.
Which I wanna get
If
into
anyone
more, 'cause we
is
need to recap
that's
it.
listening to
Yeah.
this, I'm just gonna use the analogy anyways, and you'll understand it.
And you could
anyways.
fill us in on anything interesting that you.
For sure. So Russell Westbrook was one of my favorite players growing up. He's a basketball player. His stats, he always used to get 30 points, 20,
triple
10,
doubles,
yes, exactly, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. And he always used to get a lot of hate because like it took him a lot of shots to get those points. And I'm
He's a
like,
ball
dude,
hog.
and I'm like, dude, he won MVP. So sometimes you just gotta take the shots, get the points, you're gonna win. And it doesn't matter what people say about all the shots that you missed because at the end of the day, they're gonna see what they see on paper.
And no one else wanted to take that shot.
No one wanted to take the shot.
Can't complain at the same
He
time.
was a dog. He gave me that mindset of like you just keep shooting, and eventually you're gonna hit. And if you don't hit, keep shooting, and eventually you'll hit.
Once we're on basketball, for the past, I don't know how long the NBA playoffs have been going on for, but I'm so out of it. I don't know if you are at all.
I have roommates that watch like sports and they're like, LeBron, he's just passing all the threes. He doesn't want to ruin his record.
The Knicks play soon.
So I want to know just a very, very basic recap. What's going on in the NBA playoffs for someone who knows nothing about it, just so I could be like, yes, I know that's happening.
Oh, cool. Yeah. No. All the underdogs right now. So it's the second round of the playoffs. All the underdogs won the first game, which is like I've never seen anything like that.
Okay, and what round are
The
we in
Knicks
now?
beat the Celtics. This is the second round. The Knicks beat the Celtics, and they play them today in Boston. Crazy. So if anyone in New York right now is hype about basketball, it's because of that.
What are your
Okay.
thoughts on Kyrie? Is he still on the
I met
Celtics?
him. I know him. He's on Dallas. Yeah, I mean,
You know him?
I work a lot, very closely with like sports players and athletes and stuff like that. So I can't get too much into like the personal stuff about it.
I was going to ask you how you feel about some of the things he said.
Yeah, listen, I think everyone has their personal beliefs. Whether they're as long as you go about it in a respectful way, then it's fine. When you have a platform like they do, then you have to be extra careful about it. I also think that education is the key here, and unless it's rooted in hate, then I think it's worth having a conversation, giving that person the benefit of the doubt, and I think that stands for anyone. But if it's rooted in hate, then I don't support it, and I never will. Ask me about Kanye, and I'll tell you how I feel about it.
I was going to ask you, do you know Kanye?
I met him, and I can
And
still
Diddy. You also met Diddy.
You met Diddy.
I can still tell you how I feel. I can't talk about that one, but I can talk about Kanye. Like Diddy doesn't. I don't think he said anything bad about Jews.
No
so, like,
Diddy.
I'm not gonna, yeah, no Diddy. But like in terms of like Kanye, like yeah, no, I don't respect that. So he's crazy. I don't.
Apparently, he's like building an army.
Whatever
somewhere in
he's
LA.
doing, dude. Whatever he's doing, he's on drugs and he's not thinking straight. And I have really no like, yeah, dude needs to just take a
Okay,
chill.
so we
pill.
got Celtics, Knicks.
Celtics,
where
Knicks.
does Steph come? in all
Steph
this?
is right now. They just won. They just beat the Timberwolves, so he's still
I
in
saw
there.
that game last night.
Yeah, they're still in there. They're playing Timberwolves.
And then the Lakers.
Lakers are out. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Now that we got that, that
Recaps.
covered.
Now DJ's up to date.
Yeah, I needed to know that. Where are you meeting all these people? Because the way you said it before, I ended up at the Super Bowl like one does.
On a
with
party bus.
Griffin Johnson.
He passed the
with
drink, by the
Summer
way.
Rae, with...
Where am I
It's
meet?
empty.
Aw.
Oh, okay, see, that's good though.
How did any of that start? Who's the first person you met?
The first
how do you
person I
meet
met,
them?
wow, I'm gonna shout him out.
In a networking way.
I'm gonna shout him out. So I had this like stage in my life where I was like, you need to like fake it to make it, and you have to be in all the right places. And so I would always find a way to get courtside to basketball games, and like whether that was getting the tickets or like just sneaking there, I was there. And there was so the Sixers traded for this big player, and I ended up at like the locker room area type of thing where I met this one guy who he was like the manager or best friend of
You
one of the
snuck
players.
into the locker room?
Not the
Or
locker
you
room,
by-
like the exclusive club area where everyone who's courtside is there, and there's a lot of famous rich people. I met this guy who like manages a player, and his name was Isaiah Joe, and we ended up just vibing and
Two first names.
Yeah,
How old were
He's
you?
awesome. I was 21.
You're 21 and this sports player is
My age, maybe
Oh,
a year
okay.
older,
You
but
weren't just vibing
he
with,
was
like,
on the
a random
Sixers, and he was like,
executive.
but he was one of the first people that was like legit, like in an NBA league and da 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 da, and he was so cool, and like we were friends, and I met a lot of people through him, but also like just like we ended up becoming friends, and I realized like like these people are legit like normal people most of the time, and so we got close, and from there it just went crazy. Like from there, like it goes from there to like this Super Bowl. I was at a party with like Leonardo DiCaprio or
Whoa.
like Tobey Maguire, like
Wow.
shook my hand and had a conversation with me. like, or like that type of thing. So yeah, it spiraled into like some crazy thing where like now I feel like I know a good amount of people, and I think I said this to someone recently. Like I feel like I'm one connection away from anyone in the world.
Wow.
From what I hear, a lot of people, when they talk about networking, especially with high-profile people, with high celebrity people, with celebrities, they're very
high.
concerned about the celebrities not liking them, like be nonchalant because they're not going to think you're cool. But I'm more concerned about all these people have their radars on for, is this person just trying to get something out of me?
Yeah.
So how do you walk up to someone and make them feel like I don't want anything from you? I can help you.
Provide value.
Yeah.
Provide value. Yeah, I think first of all, like it always helps when you're not like being like coming up to them on some like they don't know you. Maybe if you know someone that they know, even if it's the smallest person in their life, like that helps. Mm-hmm. So it usually helps when I walk up with people that know them. And if not, what I always do, but this takes time to build up, is like I'll always go to their Instagram and be like, who's a person that they follow that I know, and then I'll just name drop that person because I know them, and then they're already like the guard is a little bit less down.
They don't see that as this person is just trying to woo me.
Well, no. Let's say right now we're people, not famous, but let's say like I come up to you and I'm like, and you know this guy David, and I'm like, yo, you know David, and you're like, yeah, and I was like, oh, that's my boy.
Yeah.
Now you're like already like open more, and they do the same thing, because usually the person that I know that they know is also half famous or whatever. So
also like what DJ is saying, are you not nervous?
No, at this point they're regular people, and if anything, like at this point I feel like I have value for them, and I don't care too much about what they do and what they don't. I've met my idols.
That's a sick mindset. The mindset's like, these are normal people. I just need access. Instead of let me access these people. Then once I do, like, oh my gosh, how do I talk to this person?
Dude, like at the end of the day, like I met the people that I was starstruck by. At this point, like if I'm meeting you, like and you're famous, like that's so cool. Like tell me about your story. How can we work together? But I don't really need a picture or anything like that.
The meeting them part, that part, I think you could figure that out. The harder part is the value. If I would walk up to, I don't know why Adam Sandler popped up into my head.
He's awesome.
But if I walked up to him, I have nothing to give him. Nothing.
You have a podcast.
But he knows he could go on
Who
any
cares?
podcast.
But you have a podcast.
So
who cares about the other podcast? You have a podcast.
So how is that valuable for him? And why would he not just see that as clout
Maybe it
chasing?
isn't. Maybe it is. You say, hey, I have a podcast. I'd love to have you on. He's at the point in his career where there isn't much value people can provide to him. He's got the money. He's got the fame. He's got the kids.
And he doesn't care.
Yeah, like maybe he just wants to talk. A lot of people like to talk. Podcasts is great because people like to talk about themselves. But yeah, dude, like whatever it is, even if you don't think you have the value, find a way to find the value. Like you have it. It's always there. There's always value.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think that's just so hard. That a lot of these.
No, it's not.
To me, if I would pitch that, I would feel so
Insecure?
not insecure. I would just feel like I'm lying.
Are
Like,
you though?
this
You don't
isn't-
think that there's value to this?
He would be better off if I did not walk up to him. Because
That's rooted in insecurity.
why is that insecurity? He
Why
had
would he
time,
be-
He had time, and now I just took 30 seconds of his time.
Yes,
For something he didn't need.
And if he makes an effect on your life, then how do you know that's not something that he wants to do? How do you know he doesn't want to help other people? Maybe he does want to. Maybe you talking to him and him giving you his time makes him feel good about himself because now he gave someone who wanted help or whatever, and he did that. He fulfilled that.
It might, but now you're not really providing value. You're just saying.
But you can provide value.
Ask people for any favor, and it
Not a
might
favor.
be.
It's not a favor, and it doesn't have to be the podcast. It could be anything, right? There's so many different things, right? Like, for example, like you guys know Yossi Farah, like he'll put filling on a guy. That's his value, right? Maybe they wanted to do that. Maybe they didn't want to do that, but maybe they did it and they felt better about themselves. It's value, right? Everyone has their own value. It's just a matter of how confident are you in what you're doing, and are you confident enough to provide that to other people and to be confident enough to actually like go up to someone and not think that you're like lesser than them, because you're not. You bleed, they bleed. You die, they die. Who's really important here?
Yeah, I really don't think they're more important. They're even people that
You think their time?
that
What
aren't
you're
a
saying is their
celebrity.
time is more valuable than yours.
I don't think it's more valuable than mine. I wouldn't want them walking up to me if they didn't.
Oh,
have,
you wouldn't want Adam Sandler to walk up to you?
No, it happens to be. It would be cool for me. He knows that. But if someone totally random on the street, like just today, I was out filming with someone who does mentalism. We were on the street. If you're just walking in New York and someone walks up to you with a camera in your face, and they're like, "Can I do a magic trick?" No, go away.
I mean,
For most people, we're
depends
not
on what it
helping
is.
their
If you're not being pushy, I don't mind it.
I mean, I see someone like Yossi Farrow gets a lot of rejection. You probably got a lot of rejection. It's that mindset of how many rejections until I get a yes.
I'm confident in myself. I don't need. It doesn't even matter about like. I don't care about whether someone tells me no a million times. Like I know what my value is. Once you know your value, nothing else matters. Once you know what you can provide, once you know who you are and believe in who you are, nothing else matters. I'm telling you that confidence comes. I actually don't care if someone says no to me because I know at the end of the day, I have my family, I have my friends, I have my business, I have my confidence, and that's it. No amount of words will hurt my confidence, and no amount of no's will hurt my confidence. So it's a matter of having the belief in yourself and the belief in what you're doing and knowing that even if you may not provide value, in your way, maybe you aren't, but maybe to them you are. You never know unless you can't decide that for them.
Just go for it.
Yeah, you just go for it, dude. Take the shots. Like the worst you can get is a no. Move on to the next one. Like there's so many people in this world.
On that Business is Bloomin' podcast, on that episode, I just wanted, because it was a really cool episode. He did a great job.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to find it.
Yep.
You talked about your story from when you were traveling.
Yep.
And you were almost drowning. I don't want to spoil the story.
In Croatia, yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us that full story with an extended cut, so it's not just a copy of that one?
Yeah. And then after that, I gotta go.
Okay.
I was in Croatia. I was with my cousin and this group of people, and they were like, "Yo, like, there's this cool place where you can see the view." And I was like, "Oh, it's like amazing. I'm down." They didn't say anything about jumping into anything, so I'm like, I've jumped off planes before, so it's whatever. But like, I'm not the type of guy that likes to just jump off things. We're hiking. We're like, finally got to the peak, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool, dude." And then he's like, "All right, here we go." Like in his accent, he's like, "Here we go." And I was like, "What do you mean, here we go? We were here." And then he's like, "We're jumping." I was like, "We're
Together?
not jumping." Like everyone's jumping, like 5, 6 of us.
I would only do it if I saw someone do it before.
Well,
me.
no, he would do that. Yeah. So everyone starts to jump, and he's like, "Dude, like you gotta do this." And I was like, "No, I don't." But like, okay, fine, whatever. I'm like, "All right, I'll jump. I'll do it. Like whatever. Like this is life. What's gonna happen? What's the worst that can happen?" So I jumped, and dude, like this is an Australian dude. And I walked. I jumped in. I'm trying to like swim out, and like the current's starting to push me, and like I ended up just like gasping, and this guy's laughing, and I'm gasping. I promise you, I'm on the verge of death. And he's like smiling, and I'm like, "What the hell?" And in my head, I'm like, "What the hell is wrong with this guy?" And eventually he like comes and like saves me, starts laughing, and like I had to like climb up the rocks. I get cut everywhere. Sheesh. And I was like, end of the day it was worth it because it's a story, but like, yeah, like it was.
It sounds like something out of Greek mythology or like a Buddhist story.
I got saved by an Australian man.
Yeah, when you put it that way.
I got saved in Croatia by an Australian man.
That's crazy.
Shout out to you, Australian man.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Now we're here.
Yeah, now we're here.
Did it ruin your vacation?
No, it made my vacation. The cuts, bro. I looked like I came out of like a war, a fight. Like it was.
Any
I was
scars?
savage. No scars.
Okay, I gotta let you go. Thank you, Yoni. This is awesome.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
See ya. Great to have you on.
Appreciate it.